My name is Onrie'S. You've seen me sell comics. I want to buy this comic.
Too bad, because that comic sucks!
You're watching Onrie'S Comic Mukbang Reviews. Prepare to get banged. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Onrie'S Comic Mukbang Reviews. I'm your host, Onrie'S. It's great to be here with you guys on this wonderful Wednesday evening. We're going to be talking about all the new comics that came out this week. I had a chance to sit down and read them today. Everybody who showed up earlier for my AMA, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate that. We're going to be doing something pretty cool tonight. It's going to be pretty awesome. So this is not a claim sale show. However, there's nothing that's stopping me from allowing you guys to pick up something if you want. I'm going to show you guys the screen and how we're going to be doing things tonight. So on this rack here, you guys see all the new comics that came out this week. These books are not for sale, but behind them are books that are for sale. Each of those books are going to go for just $3. If you'd like, you can claim it in the comments. Now, if someone is daring and decides to spend $25 with me tonight, I am going to give you a free copy of the latest issue of Absolute Superman in honor of Jason Aaron, taking on accepting me giving him copies of Warline 1 through 3. So, and I actually also have a very special interview with Jason Aaron that's exclusive for this show. Can you believe it? I actually got an exclusive interview with Jason Aaron. So if you're watching the show right now, feel free to pop in. Let me know you're in. And like I said, we're going to be doing reviews for comics. Everything that I am going to be showcasing tonight is over here, or reviewing tonight is over here. Behind every single one of these books is a book I will have for sale that you can claim right now. It's going for $3. Anybody who claims a couple books from me, and spends I don't know, whatever, $10, whatever, gets a copy of Absolute Superman number 22 for free. And I will also be showing off an exclusive Jason Aaron interview that I had that you guys are really gonna love. So anyway, let's get to it. Let's jump in here. So this is a pretty interesting release week, but before we jump into this week, I actually forgot to review one book that I picked up last week, or that I didn't pick up last week. I actually picked it up on Monday, and it is White Sky number 5. So White Sky is a comic series that's kind of like Walking Dead. It's kind of like Walking Dead in the sense that, it takes place in a post-apocalyptic world. But in this world, it's not overrun by zombies, it's overrun by ghosts. And ghosts feed on people's souls. So you would think, like, why would ghosts go after people that they knew and loved in life? It's because they're starving for souls. They feed on people's souls. So once they kill a person in life, if a ghost kills a person in life, they basically eat their soul. And that person doesn't become a ghost. They just, get their soul sucked, and that's the end of them. So that's a pretty interesting concept. Everybody's on the run from these ghosts. They have basically taken over everything. And the first few issues of this series are kind of off to a really slow start. This issue so far, honestly, has been my favorite. The book is lettered by Ed Dukeshire, who lettered all of Marks and did a fantastic job. So it's good to see Ed doing what he does best, which is lettering. Ed is a very renowned comic book letterer. He's won awards and all kinds of stuff. But I have to say, I really appreciate the quality of this book. The artwork and everything are fantastic. This is a very good book. And we're finally getting to the meat of the story here. And we're learning more about this world. And I'm really fascinated by it. I think they did a really good job with this book. And the best part about it, honestly, is the last page story that the writer shares with you guys. And I highly recommend you going to your comic shop and picking this up. This is an image series. So when issue 1 dropped back in January, there was a lot of buzz around it. You couldn't get a first printing. Every comic shop was sold out of this book. A second printing was quickly rushed off. I managed to find it in a dollar bin, and I got myself a copy of the first issue of second printing, just to read it and see what the hype was about. And you know, I've been reviewing this book pretty consistently, and the last few issues I felt were kind of dragging a little bit, which brings me to a very interesting topic of conversation, which is there was a post the other day. I'm going to share my screen here once I find the article. Snyder notes on writing. So Scott Snyder shared some really interesting feedback on writing. Things that, oh wait, hold on a second. I think I may have shared this on my wall, so I'll share it with you guys in a minute. We'll actually look at the article together, because I think I really do think it's worth talking about right now as we're reviewing comics. So let's dig deep here. Where is it? It's not showing up here. Okay, I know someone who has this article on their wall. Okay. Just a matter of finding it now. Where are you? Article. Okay, there it is. So now I'm going to share my screen with you. What's up, Eddie? How you doing, dude? My man, Eddie. We need to get you on here at some point. In fact, you're even welcome to come on here right now if you want, Eddie. I just let me know. I'll message you and I'll drop a link in there. You're one of those guys that I'd love to have on here. Okay, share screen. We're going to get our window. Okay, there we go. So Scott Snyder reveals the 3 big mistakes writers make when pitching DC Comics. And I read this article, and I fully agree with what he's saying here. So basically, he's saying that the people who are pitching DC, they're not new reader their stories are not new reader friendly. Stories rely too heavily on what came before instead of making every issue feel accessible to someone picking up their first comic. Honestly, and I'm just, because we're reviewing comics, I'm giving my honest feedback of what I feel. I kind of feel like White Sky is guilty of this. White Sky definitely, its first issue definitely struggled. It was not an easy book to jump on and understand. And I mean, the concept is simple, but there's not enough pulling you to be like, man, I really need issue 2. It feels like it's going in a direction that we've seen 1,000 times before. And that leads us to Scott's second point, which is the cliffhangers are too soft. Snyder wants creators to give readers a stronger reason to come back for the next issue. 100%. Totally agree with that. Now, what drew me to White Sky and why did I come back? Well, I saw issue 1 had a lot of momentum. I wanted to see, will issue 2 have enough momentum? So I came back for it. And me, I'm the kind of reader, I will give a book at least 3 issues before I decide whether or not I'm going to read it. And then the third point, which I think is a very, very important point, especially when we're talking about modern comics. They're too decompressed. His blunt advice, issue 3 should be issue 1. Totally agree 100%. That was actually the first thing my mentor, Len Straczewski, who passed away a couple months ago, told me when I was writing Yi Sun Chen. Initially, I was going to have the first battle take place in issue 6. And he was the one who was like, are you out of your fucking mind? No, you got to have it happen in issue 1. Why are people going to wait until issue 6 for a battle to happen? Could you imagine if I took that route? Or imagine if I was that stubborn? It would not have been what it is. So what's up, Joe? How you doing? Good to see you. So no, it's all right, Eddie, anytime. You don't have to apologize. So anyway, White Sky definitely suffers from these issues, okay? But we're finally on issue 5, And honestly, issue 5 should have been issue 2 of this book. Okay, like issue 1 had enough going for it where I was kind of like, okay, this is predictable, but like if they throw me a curveball, I'll be back for, you know, what happens next. And I just kept on reading it. Mainly to support Ed Dukeshire because Ed's awesome. I really enjoyed working with him. So I kept reading this book, and I really liked what the writer said. When I get to the end of every issue, he writes these like these little notes to you as the reader, and explains his thoughts on ghosts and things like that. So every single issue is filled with this stuff. And issue 5 kind of finally feels like we're getting somewhere with this story, but we should have gotten here in issue 2, maybe even issue 1. So this is the best issue of the series, but it took us too long to get there. This is a very decompressed book. It really is. You can literally read through it in 5 minutes. But that doesn't mean it's a bad book. It's beautifully illustrated. It's got an interesting concept. I just want to, I want to see this stuff kind of come together a little bit differently. Ken Schwab, tag us when you both are on. Okay, awesome. We'll do. I don't like to tag people because, I kind of feel like sometimes it's a little invasive, It's like you might be doing something and, I don't want to like interfere with that. But real quick, let me just reiterate. We're about to we just reviewed a book from last week. And by the way, this gets a 4 out of 5 Onrie'S. 4 out of 5 Onrie'S, stars, whatever you want to call it. 4 out of 5 because it was a good book. But anyway, here's what we're doing right now, tonight. Behind all of these books here that I am reviewing right now, these are all of this week's comics. They're not for sale. These are going into my personal collection. Are books that I do have for sale that are going for only $3. Now, if someone is to claim a few of these books, I am going to hook them up with a free copy of Absolute Superman number 22, written by Jason Aaron, who actually was kind enough to give me a review of Warline. He gave me, I asked him, I did one of my one question interviews. I don't know if you guys have seen my one question interviews before, but I guess now is a good time. I can just show you the one question interview. I'll show it a whole bunch of times, especially since we have Eddie in the room, and we got a crowd now. So you guys ready for this? Are we ready to see the Jason Aaron interview? It's a one question interview. It's only 34 seconds, but it's only one question from Jason Aaron. All right, watch.
Welcome to One Question Interviews with Onrie'S, the only broadcast that really gives you a unique perspective on the comic book industry.
Jason, I'm a huge fan. It was such an honor for me to give you copies of Warline, and I just wanted to know what you thought about it. Meh.
What do you mean you didn't like it? I worked so hard on it. Shut up, Jason, jerk.
Meh. All right, well, there you go. Jason Aaron's thoughts on Warline right here. So as I'm reviewing everybody else's comics, Jason Aaron is laying the smackdown on your good pal Onrie. He's not doing that, by the way. It was just, satire. Satire. Okay. So first, no, that's not the first book we're reviewing. That is the 5th book we're reviewing. This is the first book we're reviewing. All right. So underneath this copy of Miles Morales Spider-Man number 1, we got a new Miles Morales Spider-Man that dropped this week, new series. We also have Swamp Thing number 122, and that is going to go for $3. You guys can claim this. And again, if we get a couple claims in, I am going to hook you guys up with a copy of the latest issue of Absolute Superman written by Jason Aaron. He was a little rough on Warline. It's at least a Met Plus. That's great. I love it. Thank you, Eddie. I totally agree. All right. Meh. What's up, Zach? How you doing? Okay, so we have Miles Morales Spider-Man number 1, new series launching this week. Now, I'm really excited about this because I really like Brian Hill. He had a stellar run on Ultimate Black Panther and Blade. He did some really great stuff on Blade. I think he made probably one of the best Blade books we've seen in a very long time. I'm also sold on Simone DeMio's artwork anywhere it goes. And the fact that we got some covers by Simone DeMeo coming up, that's really awesome. So we got two things. But is this a good story, and is the artwork good? And I'm going to straight up say I enjoyed the hell out of this. This is one of the most entertaining issues of Miles Morales Spider-Man that I've read in a very long time. Miles is sort of finally finding a balance between being Spider-Man and like being Miles. And he meets this new girl in school, and she's from the Ukraine, and she's got a crush on him, obviously, and he's got a crush on her. And he's trying to set up a date. It's very natural stuff. I always feel that the best Spider-Man stories are stories that you can relate to as the reader. So like the best Spider-Man stories is a great Peter Parker story, for example. So, but now we got Miles Morales. And I was thinking about this as I was reading this. Like, Miles has a very what's the word? I don't want to say scatterbrained, but a very what's the opposite of what's the antonym for static? Antonym for static. Dynamic. He's got a very dynamic backstory. And there's all these variations of Miles that existed. Miles is still a pretty young character. I mean, he was introduced in 2012, meaning not just that the character himself is young, but that his existence is young. I mean, he's only been around for, 14 or 15 years now, right? So, we've seen all kinds of different versions of Miles, and nothing has truly felt as definitive as these Spider-Verse movies. The Spider-Verse movies are the ones that feel the most definitive in terms of what they've done with Miles. But you can clearly see that, all the recent Spider-Man movies have borrowed a lot from it, like Ned Leeds basically being Genki and all that kind of stuff. And even the Spider-Man games have done a great job of, establishing who Miles is and all that stuff. But, to me, if I have to pick who my Spider-Man is, it's going to be Peter Parker. Like, Miles is a distant second for me, and I don't care what, universe or whatever. I'm just not, I can't relate to Miles the same way I can to Peter. But I can still like Miles, and I can still like this book if it's written well. And it is written very well. I really like Brian Hill a lot. He's a fantastic writer. And the artwork really does kind of keep in line and tune with what Simone DeMeo does on the cover. Let's look at who the artist is. It's Leon, but I want to hear I want the full name. Nico Leon. Like, just look at this splash over here. This is a really strong splash. I just really like this. And then there's another cool thing that this book does that I really enjoyed too. What's up, Lorena? How you doing? The villain of this story, who has a connection to Miles's father, he shows up later on. Do you see how there's a little how they these two pages relate to each other? It shows up much later in the story. So this is the first appearance of a new villain, by the way. So you spectators out there, you spec people are going to want to jump on this for that reason. So you got this book right here, and you see how they're kind of facing each other indirectly. It's really cool. That's some good storytelling dynamics right there. So honestly, I really like this. I was not expecting this to be as good as it was. Miles Morales Spider-Man #1 that just dropped this week. Go out and grab this book. Seriously, it's very, very good. I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. It is very, very good. Yeah, and this is and here's the nice thing too, right? This is a perfect jump on point because it is a #1. So we got a #1 here. Jump on it. This is the time to get it. And again, another reminder, and Lorena, I know you're just popping in right now. Behind every single one of these books here that I'm reviewing, these books are not for sale, but the books that are behind the books I'm reviewing are for sale. If you pick up anything tonight, claim anything, I am hooking you up with a copy of Absolute Superman #22 by Jason Aaron, who gave me his review of Warline. I'm going to run that interview one more time.
Welcome to One Question Interviews with Henri, the only broadcast that really gives you a unique perspective on the comic book industry.
Jason, I'm a huge fan. It was such an honor for me to give you copies of Warline, and I just wanted to know what you thought about it. Meh.
What do you mean you didn't like it? I worked so hard on it. Shut up, Cincinnati, jerk!
Meh. So if you claim any of these books here, you can get Absolute Superman number 22. So the first book I showed off was Swamp Thing number 122. That's going for $3. That's it right here. And when we claim any of these books, I will bring out something else. So this is technically not a claim show. This is a review show. So no pressure at all. The second book we have for sale here is Star Trek number 5. So if anybody wants to claim these books, just let me know and I'll pull it for you and I'll throw it in your stack. No problem at all. Now let's get into the next book we are reviewing here, which is Batman and Robin Dynamic Duos Year 1. As you guys can see, I'm experimenting with a lot of things right now. And this has been a very active week for me with live streaming because I'm trying to figure out what the next step is for me. Like, what does my evolution look like? And even this setup that you guys see right now, this is not the final setup. When there's going to be another step to this. And what I'm really trying to do right now is I'm trying to find space where I can set up the double rack again, have the wheel up, and be able to, to do everything, like showcase stuff the way that I did before. So we can put books up there on the rack and you guys can claim them. And we can also have this camera here to show off the books so you guys can get a clear look at everything. So yes, that will be the next evolution. And it's going to take a little while, but we're going to get there and I'm excited about it. All right, let's get back to reviews here. So Batman and Robin Dynamic Duos Year 1. So I think it was in 2024, Mark Waid and Chris Samnee, they launched Batman and Robin Year 1, which was a 12-issue miniseries, and it was fantastic. That bastard Ross Ritchie, who used to be the founder of Boom Studios, he really got me on board with this book. I wasn't planning on picking this up, but thanks to Ross Ritchie pointing out how dynamic Chris Samnee's layouts were, I just couldn't resist. And Chris Samnee and Mark Waid, they really have a chemistry when they work together. You can feel it. They really are kind of like a dynamic duo of their own, so to speak. And this series is fantastic. It's off to a great start. It picks up exactly where the last Year 1 series left off. It's like we're on season 2 right now. And it's great. There's a really good dynamic between Batman and Robin. We're back in the Year 1 era. So, a lot of these main villains haven't really established themselves yet. Batman and Robin haven't really been established. Ari, how are you? I hope you're doing well. I hope your health is doing good too. So, really, lots of great sequential action from Chris Samnee. Chris is really a master of this stuff. And one thing, Dak always got me to think about when we were working on Nissan Shin's spreads. I really love when two pages that are facing each other and complement one another. And you really do kind of see that. I'm sorry that this camera really doesn't give you the opportunity to see that. I mean, it does when I turn it like this, but even so, here, let me change it here. When you can see, two pages complementing each other with their layouts, that's a sign of a really good book. So, this is really a masterclass in how to do action comics. Honestly, it's really fantastic. I'm interested enough to see what happens next. I'm on board. This is a great book. Go ahead and pick this up. This is another banger. We got another 4 out of 5 here. So Batman and Robin, Dynamic Duos, Year 1. Definitely go to your local comic shop. Pick this bad boy up. It is so worth it. And I am now working, just so you guys know, on setting up a PRH account so that I can start ordering these books online, and I can order books for you guys too. Like if you want me to be your new comics day provider I can do that. Well, I want to be able to do that. That's going to be the goal. So I want to set up first. I need to set up with PRH, and then I need to set up with Lunar so I can stock DC Comics too. I'm not a storefront, but if you guys have special orders or whatever, or you want to order comics through me on a regular basis, you're more than welcome to do so. So I haven't done this yet, but when that time comes, I will let you know, and I will let you guys do that. So. And obviously, the more people that do that with me, the greater discount I get as a seller. So, yeah. Well, thank you, Ari. You're always welcome to come and hang out. So the next book we got here is Clayface Celebrity Dirt, and honestly, this reminds me a lot of what's it called? Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing, where there are two Jokers, and we're trying to find out who the real Joker is. This is very much the same concept. We got a Clayface hunting another Clayface and another Clayface. It's a little bit of a confusing book, but it is entertaining. I am enjoying it, and I'm starting to feel a lot more of the eeriness that's going into the story. There are some really creepy moments in this that I did enjoy. I'm curious to see what'll happen next. There's some interesting twists here, and every issue kind of ends the same way. Like this first issue, or sorry, this is the second issue. Second issue ends pretty much exactly the way the first issue does, where a woman is, a victim is, killed or caught by Clayface, and we don't know what happens to them next. So. We got pretty redundant endings so far. I don't know if that's intentional. It seems like it has to be at some point. But there's some really interesting parts to this. It's getting me kind of excited about the Clayface movie. It's entertaining. Honestly, I just wanted to give this a shot because I haven't really read a lot of Clayface stories, So I've seen him in Detective Comics. Like James Tynion had a really fantastic run on Detective Comics where Clayface was part of a team that Batwoman and Batman assembled to, protect Gotham from a much greater threat. And in that case, Clayface was sort of like trying to redeem himself. Here, he's clearly the bad guy. He's gone over. So, and this is definitely preparing us for the movie. Is it doing a good job of preparing us for the movie? It's doing an okay job. Honestly, I feel like the artwork is a little too cartoonish for my liking. And I also kind of feel like this should have been a Black Label book where we can see more gruesomeness. I think the best Clayface we've seen in the DCEU was what they did with Creature Commandos so far. And I'm not seeing that come through just yet. But it's not a bad issue. I just think that if we're going to set up for a real horror comic, we could have raised the bar a little bit, but it's not a bad book at all. We're going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. It's a little above average, pretty average for me. You have a couple Mayhew covers of Miles, but you haven't read it either. Yeah, it's good. Zach, you'll really like the Miles book. I think they did a fantastic job with it. Another book we have for sale right now, and again, this is weird, I know. If we don't get any claims tonight, whatever, I just want to give this a shot. Web of Spider-Man Annual number 2. Check out that cover. Really beautiful. Spidey in the black suit, Spidey emblem, going for $3. That's it. And again, if you claim some books tonight, you get a free copy of Absolute Superman number 22. Latest issue of Absolute Superman. Okay, next book we got here is Emperor Aquaman. And this book delivers on its promise. On the cover it says we got a kaiju battle royale. We have Poseidon versus Aquaman. And I love when books like this, make a promise and deliver on it. And this is the exact kind of book that sells a comic, the exact kind of cover that sells a comic. You got the villain in the center, seemingly having defeated the hero. The only thing I will have to say is it's sort of a monotone cover. it doesn't really pop as much as it could. If I were to change anything, it would probably be the background, the sky. I would probably make it darker so that it would, allow Aquaman to pop out. But you got to promise here that these two characters are going to do battle. Another approach to this cover could have been the two of them locked in combat, but here we've kind of see that Poseidon has defeated Aquaman. So how does this fight go? Well, you're going to have to pick up the book to see, but it is a true battle royale, written by Jeremy Adams, whose work I'm absolutely enjoying. You can see how much fun him and the artist are having. See, look at this. This is just such great composition here. I really love, seeing these two characters battle each other. You got the water god and, the king of the sea, battling each other and fighting for supremacy of the blue. And, Aquaman is in this very delicate place right now as a character because he is becoming all powerful. He can control the blue, which means he can control all water. Doesn't matter where it's coming from. He can control your blood. He can knock you out just by, lowering your blood pressure, by controlling your blood, literally. He can do all these different things. He's becoming all powerful, and there are consequences coming for the character. We know that they're coming. Jeremy is definitely hinting that something is going to happen. And I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later. We're starting to get to this culmination here. Right now he's Emperor Aquaman, but what comes next? And if he becomes God Aquaman, or a god or whatever his next evolution is as a character, is he going to, what's that mean for him? So this has been an interesting run so far. And he was actually warned by Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan told him, he goes, be careful, because when you get this power, there's only one thing that can happen, So this has been a very interesting run so far. I've really enjoyed it. I've recently gone back. I'm studying a lot of Jeremy's work right now, not necessarily because not for any particular reason other than the fact that I see how passionate he is about everything he's working on, and that inspires me as a comic book creator and as a fan of comics. He's approaching comics as a fan and as somebody who really wants to tell stories with these characters. So I recently put together his Green Lantern run. I'm just about done with his Flash run. So I'm going to start reading his Green Lantern very soon, but I really want to read his Flash first. Yeah, exactly. He's the avatar for the blue, just like Swamp Thing is the avatar for the green. Exactly. But he wasn't chosen. He just got these powers, and he's now, kind of owning that shit. So that's what makes it interesting. Aquaman gets a 4 out of 5 this week. It was a solid issue. And we also have Lone Wolf and Cub number 24 right now. This is a book that's for sale, and it's going to go for $3. Again, you claim something, claim a couple books, whatever, you get a chance to win Absolute Superman number 22 for free. You can just add it to your stack. You don't even need to pay for it tonight. You just, claim it, whatever. You see something you want, claim it. All right, that's the first row of comics. Now let's get to the second row of comics. And the book we have here is Iron Man number 130, which is going to go for $3. Iron Man number 130 is $3. This is just something I'm testing, just figuring some stuff out. So I know this is not a claim sales show. This is just a review show. But I like to test things and see what's going on. If we get a claim here, I might try some stuff down the road. No, he's not up against the rot. What Aquaman is doing right now is he is actually trying to build an empire in order to protect the world and Atlantis from a much larger threat. And the much larger threat is like the King Omega or something like that. They basically they came in and they destroyed Atlantis, and they killed his wife, and they did all kinds of stuff. So he basically can now teleport to these different hubs throughout different planets and worlds and everything. Anything that's connected to water, he can just go anywhere. They're called lighthouses, and he can basically go wherever he chooses on a whim, as long as he's in the water. And he's also got this new weapon too, which is kind of cool. It's basically his trident, but it can turn into a sword now. And Jeremy spent a lot of time developing this weapon with his artist. He actually went to Home Depot and constructed like a simplified version of it. Yeah, they took out Amber Turd. Yeah. It's been good. I really enjoy it. But yeah, it's kind of the same idea. Not as dark as Swamp Thing, but certainly, very, very good stuff. All right, so we got Punisher number 7. I really enjoyed this series a lot. Last issue kind of felt a little too decompressed for me. This one, not so much. I mean, it does have its decompressed moments. But we open up with Kingpin, who is in critical care after the Punisher shot him up because Kingpin was controlling him. And that's in the other, Red Label series that Marvel did. So now there's this new villain who's going around killing people. His name is Collateral Damage, and he's got these special bullets. And he's basically he tries to kill Frank Castle, and he messes up. So now Frank is on, he's trying to hunt this guy down. And it's a pretty intense issue. And I think that this kind of picks up the pace from where the last few issues left off. Closes off the run. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I'm kind of happy with how this ended because it leaves things open-ended for the character, and it doesn't end the way that you would expect it to end because you would think that there's one way this could end, and it hasn't ended that way yet. The plot thickens. The one thing I'm a little upset about right now with Punisher and Batman is that the next 2 months are going to be doing crossover events. So the next issue of Punisher is actually going to be part of a 4-part story with Deadpool. And I honestly don't give a shit. I don't want to read Deadpool. I just want to read Punisher books. So I hate that Marvel's doing this, that they're forcing us into this crossover event that ties into the mainline book, and you have to read it. Otherwise, you're not going to understand what's going on in the mainline book. DC's doing the same thing with Batman right now with this thing called Bad Seeds, which is going to be a 24-chapter crossover event. I'm not doing it. I'm just letting you guys know right now. If you think I'm going to get all these issues of Bad Seeds, fuck that. Okay? DC now has a job. They have to make me interested enough to stay on board Batman for those 2 issues because I'm not picking up all these other books. I just have no interest in it. 24 chapters? Are you fucking kidding me? I don't even know how they sold that stuff. Like to the editorial, I don't even know why they're going through with this. I really hate when they do these big crossover events that cut into the mainline story. It's like, if you want to take me out of the story, this is the way to do it. I'm not against having these crossover events, but I would rather them not intersect into the actual books. Do it as another side thing. I'm not going to pick up Titans, Batwoman, all these other books, Batgirl, all this. I don't want to read all these books. I don't want the whole story. I don't need all this. It's just too much collecting for me. Okay. I'm not a big fan of that. With the Punisher, at least it's a 4-part, story. So I'll have 2 extra issues of Deadpool. But honestly, the way that the pacing of this Punisher, it just doesn't fit with the tone of Deadpool. So I don't know how I feel about it. I'll give it a shot, of course. We'll see. Both books, Deadpool and Punisher, are written by the same guy, Benjamin Percy. So can he pull this off? Are we going to see some consistency here? Likely we will in some shape or form. I'm more leaning towards that because it's a shorter thing than this whole Batman thing. Like, seriously, 24 chapters. It's insane. And when they did that with Spider-Man with the whole Gangland thing, I was like, oh, fuck that. I didn't read all of Gangland at all. I didn't fucking care. I mean, I'm sorry. I love all respect to the creators on that, but Seriously, Marvel, DC, we don't need 24 comic crossovers. Keep it to 6 to 12 issues maximum. But 24 comics? Are you guys crazy? Come on. Am I wrong? Yeah, I mean, you can have the app and all that shit, but I mean, seriously, I got so much stuff to read, I can't keep up with it. You know, and all respect to the creators. I know they're working hard on putting these comics out, but they need to kind of like put this together. Let's go back to what Scott Snyder was talking about in terms of what, you know, how stories are being pitched to DC. Just come to me as a customer about a 24 issue run on a book, you know, that is going to be going across all these other books that I normally do not read. Batgirl, I don't read it. You know, Batwoman, I don't read it. You know, Gotham, you know, Gotham's Finest, whatever. I don't read these books. Okay, I read Batman. I read Batman because that's all I want. I'm just that's me. That's the reader in me. I don't read all the Batman books. And I guarantee you most readers are not reading all of those books. So to do a 24 issue arc or crossover, I think is just a little too much. It's a little overkill. Do it as a side thing. You know, okay, the DC Night Terrors. Yeah, I learned my lesson with Gangland. I'm not doing it. Sorry. It's going to hurt your bottom line, but I really hate that they're doing that. And they're doing the same thing with Superman right now, too. It's unfortunate. You know, I was on board. What I really liked was what they did with Knockout when they did the DC Knockout. So you had your mainline Knockout, and then you had your little crossover issues where, you know, they had like rounds between two characters, and it went for like 12 books or whatever, but you didn't need to read that stuff. If you didn't want to read it, you could have just skipped on it, you know, and you could have just stuck with the 5 issues of DC Knockout. With this Batman Bad Seeds thing, it's like this, it just feels overwhelming, the checklist and everything. It's like, God, do I not have enough going on in my life? Jesus. So yeah, I'm really not looking forward to that. That's just, and there's too many crossovers happening right now. So there's a lot of changes happening with Avengers, with this Armageddon series. Hulk is going to have a bunch of crossovers too. There's just too much happening right now. I think they, you know, and I don't know if this is all intentional on both companies' ends to do all this across their lines, but they're in danger of losing some readers with this because these events last for a couple months. And I'm going to pick up the single issues of Batman because I want to have those single issues of Batman, but I'm not going to do this whole 24 issue thing. Not going to happen. Just out of principle, it's not happening. I mean, if they're going to tell us that everything is, you know, you know, that when you pitch something to these companies that your issue 3 should be your issue 1, then, you know, why are you doing a 24 issue run that should be honestly no more than 4 or 5 parts? And especially when you're centering it around Poison Ivy. This is not even a character anybody really cares about. I mean, she's an okay villain, you know, like I'm sure there's people who like Poison Ivy, but not enough for a 24 issue run. Gosh, even the Joker can't do that for me. But that I digress too much. Anyway, all right. Infernal Hulk number 10. Great cover. This is how you sell a comic. I really like the white background. I like how Hulk's popping out on the cover. This is fantastic. Really strong cover composition here. Pay attention, my friends. This is really, really good stuff, the cover. Nick Klein is an incredible cover artist and an even more incredible interior artist. Unfortunately, the man is so talented, he just can't work fast enough. So this book is actually illustrated by a different artist. I think they're leading up to a finale with what they're doing here. So this is Adam Gorham, who's been filling in on Infernal and Incredible Hulk for a while. His style is nothing like Nick Klein's at all. It's a lot looser, and at times the change between him and Klein is often very jarring. I find this to be the case with this book too. It kind of feels really watered down. This issue also feels very decompressed compared to the other issues of Infernal Hulk. and it's also, I think, the last issue of Infernal Hulk. This is it. Because next we're moving on to Infernal Hulk versus Wolverine, and then I think he's going to be fighting Spider-Man or the Avengers or the X-Men or something like that. And then they're doing a giant-size Infernal Hulk that kind of ties up everything that they're doing with Infernal Hulk. So what's happening right now, this is more of a setup issue than it is anything else. It's a good setup issue. And if you've been following this, I don't think you'll be disappointed in this issue. Like if you've been following everything with Infernal Hulk, I think it falls in line with everything that Philip Kennedy Johnson has been doing with this. So it is a good issue. I will give this a 4 out of 5. It deserves it. And this has been a really, there's been a lot of build up for this. Over 40 comics have been building up for this. So this is interesting. Dr. Voodoo is playing a big role in this. And, it's basically about, Banner reconnecting with, his Hulk personality. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but it's an enjoyable read and definitely something you should pick up if you're following the series. Anybody who hasn't picked up Infernal Hulk, you're missing out. This has been a really great run. But in order to truly understand it, you really have to read the entire run that comes before it. And that launched in 2023. It was like 30 plus issues. That was really good. But yeah, Hulk is a great book right now. This is some solid stuff. And Hulk is going to get a 4 out of 5, like I said. And then Punisher got... I think I gave it. Punisher gets a 3.5 out of 5, and I think Emperor Aquaman got a 4 out of 5. So honestly, all of the books this week have been above average. But now the question is, are the last 2 books above average? For sale right now, we have Dennis the Menace, number 12. It's going to go for $3. So you got comics hiding behind other comics. All right, the last 2 books we're going to review here. We have Fury of Firestorm, number 5. I have never been a Firestorm fan. Never in my life have I been a fan of Firestorm until I found out something very interesting. What I found out is that Jerry Conway, who was a longtime Spider-Man writer, recently passed away. He created this character. And he actually did a lot of Firestorm stuff with Ross Andrew. And the more I read this, we're now 5 issues into this series, which is written by Jeff Lemire, who's also doing Absolute Flash. I honestly have to say this is one of DC's best books right now. This is such a fucking great book. Like, I love Fury of Firestorm. So good. It is incredible. And I'm enjoying it so much that I'm actually building out my own classic Firestorm run because I want to go back and read what Jerry did with this character. So the concept of Firestorm is that he is Ronnie Reynolds and his professor. They basically come together and they form Firestorm. So it's like 2 people in one body, and they become this very powerful character named Firestorm the Nuclear Man. And we learn a lot of things about Firestorm's past here in this run that explains that he was actually part of an experiment to deal with metahumans, including Superman, should Superman ever lose control. That's how powerful Firestorm is. He is a really great character, really underutilized character too. And very strange, very peculiar, very cool. This series is solid. I absolutely love this series. This issue does not disappoint. We're only getting 9 issues. I'm kind of sad. I wish we were getting a lot more, but I'll take it. 9 issues. And now we're on issue 5. And this issue ends on such a great cliffhanger. This artwork is phenomenal. This gets a 5 out of 5 for me. This was the best book of the week, honestly. The artist is De La Torre. Same artist, because it's a limited series. But honestly, there are not enough people talking about this either. Everybody's fucking talking about. Absolute Martian Manhunter and how brilliant that is. This is an actual brilliant book too that is not getting enough attention. Rafael de la Torre. Yeah, so there's a major twist at the end of this issue. But another thing that I really appreciate, not going to reveal the twist, I'm blocking that page. There's an excellent tribute to Jerry Conway in this issue that I think everybody should pick up and read. If you buy this book, make sure you read the tribute to Jerry Conway, who passed away. He's the guy who created this character. And, Marvel's been plastering their tribute to Jerry Conway in all their books. And when I say plastering, I don't mean that in any offensive way. They've actually, they're just in every single book, literally, like as an advertisement. They're just putting in a double spread commemorating Jerry Conway, because he really did contribute so much to comics. He did an incredible amount of work. And it was nice to see DC give him, a really touching tribute in here. They had people who were inspired by Jerry, people who knew Jerry personally, just add little blurbs. It was really good. So highly recommend picking up Fury of Firestorm number 5. This gets a 5 out of 5. No pun intended, or pun intended. Oh, and Fantastic Four 243. We got that newsstand copy. This is normally a $15 book that you can grab right now for $3. All right. So that's hiding here. All right, final book. The book everyone is losing their shit over. My God, everybody's losing their shit over this book. Absolute Batman number 23. Now, is this book living up to its expectations? Is this truly the greatest comic that's coming out right now? Are we overhyping this book? Are we just taking this out of hand here? Let's find out in just a second. Before we do, we got Daredevil number 176. Newsstand copy going for $3. All right, now let's get into the nitty gritty here. Is this a good book? You bet your fucking ass it's a great book. It's one of the best comics coming out right now. This particular issue brings back Nick Dracota, the series artist, and it's great to have him back. He's been off for a couple issues. I think he's preparing for the next big run that he's doing on this. His style is so fantastic. I love how he combines Western style comics with kind of like an anime feel. This book almost kind of feels like it's like you're watching Akira, but it's set in the world of Batman. I really, really love that. So you picked up an A and B of Absolute. Awesome. And I think that's the biggest thing that Absolute Batman has going for it is the feel of the book. It's really, really fantastic. So this is a really great illustrations. We're moving the story in an interesting direction here because they've been introducing all the villains, all the rogues that Batman has, like Two-Face and Penguin and Killer Croc and Riddler, but they're not actually Batman's villains. They're actually trying to help him. It's Robin, all the Robins, they're the bad guys. And everybody seems to be being manipulated by Jack Grimm, the Joker. And we're learning more about that right now because the Joker has an incredible amount of influence. There's something really big that happens in this issue. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but this was a fantastic book. It is also going to get a 5 out of 5, even though I did catch 2 small lettering glitches here. There was, I didn't find the exact, pages where I noticed things, but there was one spelling error and there was an issue with kerning in another panel. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Should have marked it. I'll tell you what it is. These are small things, but when you got a book this big, I really think that you can't afford to have these kinds of things happen. I read enough comics, and no comic is perfect by any means, but when you got a book on this level, it really shouldn't be coming across, any sort of spelling errors or any kind of issues with the lettering. And the issue with the lettering that I noticed was more with the kerning, and I'll show you what it is in a second if I can find it. So kerning is the space between letters on a horizontal level. Leading is the space between letters on a vertical plane. So where is it? See if I can find this real quick. I remember it was somewhere, but this was a really solid issue. Should have marked it. Why didn't I mark it? There's a lot of context in this book too, by the way, or not context, exposition in this book, and that probably makes sense why some stuff fell under the cracks here. But these are such minor things that it doesn't pull you out of the experience, So, shit happens. But this is one of the best books coming out right now. Sorry, I can't find the areas that that jumped out at me with their mistakes, but this happens from time to time. If you catch it, let me know. Let me know where it is, what page number it is. Oh, wait, these books don't have page numbers in them. Whoops. And I get it now. Now I get why these modern comics don't have page numbers in them, because most of them are pretty decompressed. This issue of Absolute Batman is not decompressed. Scott Snyder lives up to his notes that he gave to other aspiring creators trying to break into DC. This does not feel like it should have come earlier. It feels like it's all coming together at exactly the moment it's supposed to happen. However, I'm going to have to say that having studied a lot of Scott Snyder's work, sometimes he kind of is all over the place with his storytelling. He'll go from one place to a completely different place that that sometimes makes it hard for me as a reader to keep up with. Especially between what happened in the last issue and where we are here. That doesn't mean he's pulling me out of the story in any way. He's just moving in a direction that I'm not seeing yet. So I don't necessarily see right away. By the time I get to the end of the issue, it all makes sense, and that's what matters. So this was a really good book. Highly recommend picking this up. If you've picked it up already, enjoy it. You're in for a treat. And that being said, we are done reviewing comics today, and I really appreciate you guys tuning in with me. This kind of brings a conclusion to all my broadcasting for the week here, until I get to what's it called? My next show, which is going to be Fan Expo Chicago. You guys saw me prepare for that today. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be streaming on Whatnot on Saturday from the show floor, and I want to try something different. Basically, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving you guys an opportunity to Am I muted? Can you guys hear me? Motherfucker. You guys didn't hear anything I said just now? Oh my gosh. Tell me what you guys missed. Son of a bitch. Motherfucker. Ass. See, this is still a work in progress, getting all this working out. So, oh my gosh. Ass. Son of a bitch. Oh, fuck, the whole whatnot thing, seriously? I have to repeat all that shit again? My ass. All right, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm going to be live on Whatnot from the floor of Fan Expo Comic-Con or Fan Expo Chicago this weekend. If you guys could do me a favor, follow that link that I posted over there. Bookmark the fucking show. Show up. Tell your friends about me. Spread the word. Tell them this guy's a freak. All right. And if you buy anything from me while I'm at Fan Expo Chicago, I will hook you up with free shipping on the house. All right. So there you go. Fuck this bullshit in my ass. I'm out of breath. Jesus Christ. The whole whatnot. Well, it's all right. I didn't really say anything important. Yeah, you know, Jay knows exactly how this fucking feels. And he was messaging me and trying to help me out. Jay, I appreciate you. You're the fucking man. I love you, buddy. But anyway, yeah. So, yeah, I'll be tuning in live at Fan Expo Chicago on Whatnot on Saturday. I'm trying another experiment, trying to go live from the show and giving you guys a chance to come hang out with me while I do what I do at cons. And you can, if you order something from my shop, meaning my comics, you will get free shipping on your order. You're the king of audio issues. Yeah, that sucks. Nopezilla. Well, guys, I'm going to call it a night here. I'm going to go hang out with Alan for a little bit before we got to get off to bed. So I just want to thank you guys for coming to hang out tonight. Had a really fun time talking comics with you guys. Keep buying, keep reading those comics. I will see you guys later. Take care. Love you all. Have a great, great night.